Welcome everyone to this week's collective coaching call. Normally Sam is hosting these, but he's actually speaking in London right now. So I'm going to be taking over. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Oliver Graf, Sam's business partner, and really looking forward to today's call with Tracy Cousineau. She is a longtime friend, industry veteran. She is one of the top realtors in Atlanta and runs the top team in Atlanta. And so we're very excited to have her on today talking about how to dominate your market and grow your business. So just a couple quick notes here before we get started. If you guys have any questions while we're on the call, please drop them in the Q&A down below. I will be monitoring that. So throughout the call, if anybody has questions, I can relay those to Tracy so that we can address those. At the same time, if you like what's being said, do me a favor, hit that raise hand button. That's like a virtual high five, a virtual clap. So if you're feeling what Tracy's saying, do me a favor and hit that raise hand button. And again, any questions, go ahead and put those in the Q&A. Couple other things, we will send out the recording after the call. So if there's anything that you want to re-listen to, that'll be coming out usually 48 to 72 hours after the live call. We send those out to everybody. And again, we do these calls every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific. So we'll look forward to seeing you on future calls as well. For right now, Tracy, I'm going to go ahead and make you the host. So if you want to share your screen and all that, you'll be able to do so. And then, like I said, any questions that come through, I will go ahead and relay those over to you. So give me 1 second while I make you the host. Change. All right, you are all set, Tracy. Thank you so much again, and we will look forward to I see you're in the van there.
Yes. Let me clean my screen there.
I love it.
That wasn't the plan. I was in an appointment and ran a little behind. So you get me.
No, that I get it.
Great for the topic.
So for those that don't know, I actually Tracy has an amazing business vehicle. It's like a mobile conference van. It's got TVs, conference room, all sorts of cool stuff in it. I had the pleasure of getting to ride in it when I came to visit her out in Atlanta at one of the big real estate events that she does. And very cool. So let me turn it over to you and you will have the floor. And like I said, any questions, just put them in the Q&A and enjoy.
Awesome. Thank you, Oliver. Thank you for having me on today. And I look forward to, opening your mind of your market area. I know that in some areas that, business is tough. It's the market. Your buyers are scared, sellers are not wanting to sell. So now is definitely the time that you want to brand as the go-to person in your marketplace. So I know that, one thing that, riding in this van and, time management was the real reason. So branding just this alone is something that you show up in your appointments in a statement, not with ego, but with more of, for me, it was time management. How many appointments can I get to, but still work on the things that I needed to work on? Like if I needed to do reductions, or if I needed to negotiate a contract, or if I needed to work with, a team member that could ride with me, and then my children. In real estate, we work so many hours, and I was finding myself, getting home late, working all night, and missing the opportunity to spend more time with my children. So it was, a valuable thing that helped me with time management. But I will say that the first weekend of owning this Sprinter, I listed $4 million worth of property that weekend, just going boom, boom, boom. The time management was awesome. So it paid for itself in the first weekend. So it's thinking big, and it's thinking outside the box. I always like to say that I'm my own competition, and I like for my team to look at it as they're their own competition as well. We work together, but you know, to go back to old coaching, I remember, gosh, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, filling out these forms, and they would ask me, you know, who's your top competition in your area? And I would answer those forms with my top competition in the area until you put yourself out there and you're branding yourself as the only go-to person in your marketplace. Then all of that stops. You look in the mirror and you are your own competition, because you don't want to stay. What if your top competition in your area, their goal was only to sell 40 homes for the year? So then if they're your competition, you're just going to sell 40. So that you're not going to grow. So just always, you know, look into that. And I'm going to now move over to branding and how, coming out of a recession, of the Great Recession, and the market, you know, had tanked, and I was the short sale queen and doing all these short sales, and, you know, money was tight, and, you know, cars were repoed, my home was foreclosed on, bankruptcy, the whole 9 yards. So starting this, I'm going to go back to the beginning stages of how this all began, because if you think that you need a lot of money to do it, you don't. You can start small and then you gradually just get to that point. But it's understanding the difference of stuff. So I would, every time that we had a sale, put that back into marketing. So always trying to grow and be consistent with the marketing. But when I started coaching agents also, I realized that a lot of agents didn't have direction. There are so many tools out there, but if you're going to brand different from, you know, someone else under the same brand, if you're not on a team, then how do you do that? How do you make you stand out differently? Because you are the person they're hiring. It's not necessarily usually the company name. It's usually the individual. You're the one that worked hard for that business. So how do you brand you, but still stay under, you know, the terms of your license law, underneath the brokerage? And so just kind of, you know, going through that, but make a brand and a name of yourself. So going back with that, we all think that it starts with our logo. And so many people spend so much time on what their logo is going to look like, the colors that they use. But you have to understand that you're actually the logo. You're actually the brand of your business. And once you understand that, everything else just falls into place. Make sure that your message is the same across all outlets. All of your marketing content, it's all the same color. Your logos are the same on everything. It's all in the same paper. It's all about the first impression of when you walk in to meet with a buyer or seller. It's your image, and you are the image of your brand. And I watch a lot of housing shows on TV, and I'll watch HGTV or whatever. And sometimes I'll like wrinkle my forehead and go, they're actually on TV, but the image that they're showing up to meet with these sellers and buyers would not be an image that I would want to show up with. I mean, I've seen, you know, holes in pants and all that kind of stuff. So it's always just being aware, because you only have that quick to make the first impression. And so we start with that first impression online, because if you don't think that the consumer is Googling you and checking out your social media and your branding, then you're wrong. They are. And so you want to make sure you're consistent on all of your social media outlets, and you should be on as many as you can, because it's free. And that's where we started at after the recession was Facebook, and it was free. So I made sure that I was consistent. I was posting educational content. It wasn't me out drunk at a bar. It wasn't crazy stuff and drama. It was me as a person, with my family or my pets and business and homes for sale, and anything I could do to educate the consumer to start building that brand and that trust. Because people, want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And, you'll start to, I don't know where, of course, where everybody's following is on social media, but on a friend's page, you only get 5,000. You have a bunch of followers, but I would encourage you to go ahead and just make a public profile page as an entrepreneur, and you can move over all of your friends that are on your current personal page to that page, and they'll automatically move over. So then you can start growing that engagement. It got to the point that I was having to remove people just to add new people. And so I hated that. And so, and if you need help with that, I don't mind helping you, make that switch over. It's really easy. But make sure that you're branding with your name. So many of us throughout this career have, tried to come up with these cute names and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's your name, and your name is all you have. And so you brand your name the way that you would do business with yourself and respect yourself. So all of my social media outlets are my first and my last name. It's an easy way for people to find me across all outlets. And then also, I'll get to this in a little bit, but I also have a jingle because my last name is not easy. And so just always having something that is consistent with your marketing so people do remember you. When I walk into a home, it's the children that also come and greet me and ask me questions. I went to an appointment a couple weeks ago, and the children, they were home because they're homeschooled, and one of the little girls on the way out said, "Can I ask you a question?" And she asked me about my jingle and how that came about. And the whole entire family sat around and they all said the jingle. And so just knowing that you can make an impression with your marketing. And when I coached agents, being consistent is huge. So you want to post at least 3 or 4 times a day. And listen, if some of you might be cringing, and I remember I've only had one person since I've been on Facebook since 2007. I used to sell homes on MySpace, and I've only had one person ever reach me and say, don't be upset with me, but I am going to defriend you just because I see your content. Well, I'm like, good, I'm doing my job then. If you see my content, but I was all over his newsfeed. But when he needed to sell, they needed to sell their mother's house when she passed away. 2 of their children have bought homes from me or with me. And even though he unfriended me, he remembered because I was consistent. And he knew that my marketing worked. It worked on him. He just wanted to get me off his news feed. But anyways, do not think that you're bothering anyone, because out of everyone since 2007, that is the only person, but they still did business with me. And so what kind of branding do you want to be consistent with? And of course, there's right now it's video, and it's whether you're doing reels or you're just, giving educational value and just, videoing a normal video, just giving that content. Make sure you're using your captions, because if people are watching them that can't have the sound up, they're still, being able to understand what you're talking about. And make it fun, make it educational. But you also are human. So if you have pets, you want to show that side of your children and outings and your friends, and just make sure that it is nothing crazy that would make someone go, I don't want to do business with them. Stay vanilla. I don't post anything controversial, because I don't you just don't know who you're talking to, and it's always just best to stay out of it. And so also your image. So on all your social media platforms, you have the opportunity to upload your image, and some of them you have cover photos. You want to make sure they're professional. You want to make sure that it's actually a picture of you. It's not an avatar. It's not your logo. It's they're doing business with you. They're not doing it with the picture of your logo. They're not doing it with your avatar. They want to know you. They want to see you. They want to see the real you without all the filters and all that crazy stuff. And they want to get to know you. And so the more that they can see you on your social media, on all outlets of them, your voice, your laughter. I mean, people just grow to this stuff. If you turn on the TV right now, if you're watching a Netflix or a Hulu, or you're watching the news, you have certain channels or certain preferences that you're going to go to. And so is the consumer. So once you start branding and they may not personally know you, but by the time you do meet with them, they're going to know you, and they're going to think that y'all were the best of friends because they've watched you educate. They've watched you sell homes. They've watched you tell the story of others' journeys. You know, when you sell a house or you meet with someone, go through the journey, help people understand the journey, because someone might be going through the same thing that your client or you are going through, or a family member is going through, and just be authentic and share the journey, and people will grasp into that and understand it, and want to be a part of your ecosystem and in your environment and do business with you. Most of the buyers and sellers that we work with become good friends and close, call them family. So you know, you want them to feel that, but you again have to stay consistent. So you know, there's your opinion and there are facts, and if you're telling a story, you know, don't be the huge Karen giving out a bunch of opinions of your own that you know, people might not appreciate, you know, going through. You'll lose a lot of followers that way. And you know, state the facts, and you know, you have empathy, and you want to make sure that, you know, the goal for doing this is to get to the end result in the journey. And the way that I look at it is that every home that we don't sell, we're not helping the economy, because every transaction feeds more than just the buyer and the seller and the agents and the brokerages. There are a lot of people involved in every single transaction. And so, you know, I don't want to fail them, and I know you don't want to fail them. So if you can brand and you can get that business, and you know that you can take them through that journey the best that anybody in your marketplace can, then you have to be loud, not obnoxious, and you have to show up. And when you show up, then it'll just continue. And you know, you show up online everywhere, you show up in events, you show up at your children's sporting activities, and you know, you still need your quiet time, and I get that, but you know, just show up and be yourself, you know, be personable. People want to the more that you grow your following, the more people want to be around you, and they want to ask you questions. You know, I can go through Starbucks and they'll say my jingle, and it's because now you know, I brand on radio and billboards and TV, and wherever I can is where I want to be. And you know, again, if you're starting now with it, social media is huge, and if you post something, you have to make sure that you are engaging back with your post. And it's like, if you've posted something and it's been years or months, but somebody went and stalked your social media and they made a comment on that actual content, it brings it back to the news feed of your Facebook friends and stuff. So it's re-engagement. So let's say that you have an extra 300 friends that you weren't friends with when you first posted that. Well, they didn't go back and stalk all your stuff, but it might be really good content that someone else did, and they made a comment or they liked it, and it brought it all the way back to your news feed. And then you start getting all these notifications like, man, that was an old post. But then it starts to bring back, yes, we can hear my jingle. It starts to bring back that post, and now you can re-engage. And then you start to continue to build whatever likes and loves or whatever you laughs or whatever you had on that, and more comments. So it's going to keep you in the algorithm of what you want. And that's why I'm saying consistent. If you're going to post something, make sure you comment back, not just like it. You actually need to reply back to it to keep the engagement going and keeping that post alive. And you can post content in video form, and then you can splice it into written form. So just think bigger, you know, don't think small with it. You can take a post and probably make 10 things from it. And so make sure that it's your first and your last name. Another way on online to start getting followers and, you know, be more noticeable is if you take your profile photo, and you can go into Canva and you can put a red ring around the outside of your photo. and then go through your Instagram and your Facebook, and you will notice, of course, there's a reason why stop signs are red. And so you start to bring everybody, every time you comment on any post on your friends in groups, marketplace, wherever, whenever you post a reply back to anybody's content or your own, you're going to stand out because your circle is dark red or stop sign red, and it's going to draw attention. So then people are going to go to your profile, and then you're going to start to grow your audience as long as you have good content on there. And that's what you want to do. Make sure that your bio is, you've got everything on there. Not silly stuff. You have to have a purpose, and you have to have a passion for what you do, and you want to make sure that shows. And would you do business with you? If you go right now to all of your social media and you look at your content, would you do business with you, or do you need to do cleanup? And that's what, I would go back and look at, or you can delete stuff or archive stuff or whatever, but step back and ask yourself that question. And as you continue to grow content, ask yourself that. And for me, on these reels, some of the content that I post, I'm only doing it just to get my following bigger. Some of the content, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to put this out there. But I found it on somebody else's page, and they had a lot of likes on it and a lot of followers. I'm like, if I could I'll just steal the recording of it, and I'll put me in it or whatever, and hopefully get, grow that activity. And then I can delete it, all that stuff that I don't really like, off later. But it's just knowing what the trending stuff is on these reels. I have an influencers package. So the more reels that I post and the more TikToks I post, they actually direct deposit money every month into my account for the amount of followers that I have. And Instagram is a lot higher. So if everybody will follow me on Instagram, I would appreciate that. And I just started being an Amazon influencer as well. So this not only, especially in a season that we're unfamiliar with, some of us, I'm very familiar with market declines and stuff, but you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So you want to have other stuff. And so when you become the influencer in your marketplace or the mogul in your marketplace, there are other things that people are going to follow you on. And, it opens up so much more opportunity. Let me see.
Hey, Tracy, real quick, got a couple questions that have come through. This one's from Kiana. Can we hear the jingle?
Let me grab one of my radio commercials, and it's on there.
Awesome. And then while you're looking for that, another one from Missy. Do you put the same video or marketing material exactly the same on each platform, or do you tailor the reels or post specifically for the individual platform?
So between Instagram and Facebook is basically the same. They'll pull, and that I just leave it. It's really understanding the trending hashtags on TikTok is really where you need to be. And when you're doing TikToks, you actually want to put wording on the front page of it too, because that is actually stopping people to see what you're saying. And sometimes it's not what is in the recording, it's actually what you're saying that gets them to follow. And there are so many different ways to look at what's trending, what music is trending, what hashtags are trending, so that you can start to build that audience there. It's crazy. There's so many influencers on, on Reels and on TikTok, and it's just that one post, folks. It's just that one post, but stay consistent. Absolutely. The thing that you don't want to do though, is you don't want to download your TikTok video with all the graphics that say TikTok on the side of it and put it on Instagram as a reel, or vice versa, because they will make sure that reel does not show, or that TikTok does not show up on your on-sites will be really low, because you're branding another platform. So just know that you download the video without all the graphics on it, and then yes, you can put it on there. Make sure you're using hashtags.
That's a
Everything.
great tip.
Yeah.
Just one more thing to add that I just heard you say that I really like is, and we do this as well, is find content that other people have already created. Like if you just go through all the hashtags on any of these platforms, you can find a ton of content that already has tons of likes, and you can just do the same thing for your neighborhood, for your market. And that way you'll have kind of like a shortcut to success, because you know that that type of content has already done well on that particular platform. So go ahead and just do it in your own way, and make it your own, and then post it on your own pages. And then just to add to that also, if you guys are doing any longer form content, it's always a good idea, and you can get editors on sites like Upwork for really cheap to go in and basically cut out reels and 60-second or less type videos. And then you take those videos, you run them through an app like Captions app, which I think is $5 or $7 a month. And then they'll put all the captions and emojis on there for you. And then you take those videos and you post them on the TikTok, the Instagram Reel, the YouTube Shorts, all of those different places. And like Tracy was saying, make sure that you're not putting it on TikTok and then downloading it from TikTok and putting it on Instagram, because the algorithms don't like that. Make it on your phone or on your computer and then upload it to each of those separately. And
Absolutely.
then
And so, go ahead. Sorry.
sorry, not to cut you off there, but if anyone else has any questions, keep them coming, because these are awesome.
Going back, Oliver, to TikTok. So I just got notification that you can actually now have your own show, in my opinion, on TikTok. So what a great audience. While TikTok is still in the United States, is you have up to 10 minutes now. You can have your own show in 10 minutes. I see agent marketing all over TikTok, because it's just, part of my For You page and who I'm friends with and all that. And be consistent, and don't, if you don't get a lot of likes or a lot of comments, just keep going, because it doesn't happen overnight. You have to be consistent. Don't give up, because it just takes that one that makes people pay attention and go viral. So just keep plugging at it. Don't say, oh, it didn't work for me. Just keep showing up, keep giving the content. People are watching it, because you can see how many people are watching it, regardless if they liked it or they commented. A lot of times it'll say that people shared some of my stuff, or they saved it. And so I know that they are watching and they are seeing it. So just be consistent. But going back to, I started working with HGTV right before COVID on a Rags to Riches TV show for real estate. And hindsight's 2020, I'm glad it didn't work out. But I wouldn't want to put my family through all of that. But I remember all the edits, and it's not necessary for that. Like, they came back to me at 10 o'clock one night, and I stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning, because listen, I'm from New York. I have lived in the South since I was in the 5th grade. But it doesn't change my voice. Yes, some of you, I do have a Southern accent here and there, of course, because I've lived here for so long, but I can't change my voice. I can't sound like I'm from Savannah when I'm in Metro Atlanta. And so those are the kind of things that they were doing. They were sending me to redo part of the sound of me speaking to make me sound more Southern. And so that's just not a fit for me, to not show up as who I am. And so when you're doing this content, show up as who you are is the real reason for me, giving this information out there. So you have 10 minutes that you can educate, or you can have your own TV show. People want to know the behind the scenes stuff. They want to see what's going on. They want the curtain open. Listen, we all live in glass houses at this point. They want to see what's going on. What are you preparing for the day? Talk to them and give them content. They'll give you comments. They'll give you things that they want to know, or go on Facebook and say, what are some great things that you would want to know about me? Or what are things that you would want to know about the real estate industry? What are your questions? You can ask and people will tell you. Or you can go to real estate forums and you can look at what other people are asking questions on and take that content and make it your own and add to it. And I write for entrepreneur.com and for the Business Leadership Chronicle. And, you know, that's a lot of the content that I find. It's going back and understanding new agents, seasoned agents, buyers and sellers, investors. What are their questions? What is the top content that they want to know? And that's the content I want to write about. Sorry, my ADHD. I'm still looking.
Yeah, while you're doing that too, I'll add a little something. It's always best to show, not tell, right? And as agents, we're out in properties all the time. We're doing open houses. We're previewing properties. We're driving neighborhoods. And a couple things that we've done over the years that have worked really good is, number one, anytime you're doing an open house, you should take out your phone and do a 60-second reel, just either talking about the house, talking about the neighborhood, things like that. One thing that we did a few years back that got a ton of views is we went to a few of the more expensive neighborhoods in our town and literally just drove in the car. We didn't even stop. We were just driving the houses and doing a little commentary as we drove by the houses, like, oh, this is where the school is. Oh, look at these ocean views. Look at this. This is where the market is. This is the neighborhood with these types of houses and these types of price points. And so it's really just about showing the stuff that you're already doing, right? If you're out previewing homes, pull out your phone and say, hey, this is what, $600,000 will get you in this part of town. Different things like that. So it's really just about showing and not telling. And then, like Tracy said earlier, anything that doesn't do well, give it 2-3 days and just delete it if it doesn't do well. And that way, you just keep trying until you get those ones that hit. And eventually, if you're consistent, the algorithm will reward you and you'll start getting more views, followers, engagement, all of that.
Yeah. Piggybacking off of that, if you post something and maybe you posted at the wrong time, because there are specific times also that you should post where you're going to get the most maximized traffic looking at your stuff, and you can schedule that stuff. If you move your personal page over to a branded page, you're going to be able just to schedule that stuff to hit. So even if you set, for 2 hours on a Sunday night or, Saturday morning or whatever, and you schedule it out for your content for the week, then it's just plug and play. And so that makes it a lot easier. But if you post something and there's not any engagement on it, or the engagement is small, then I would delete it. Because it either didn't go at the right time, or it just wasn't, it's gonna clog your page. And you don't want the consumer to miss the actual stuff that did get a lot of engagement that you do want them to see, because they're gonna have to keep scrolling through all this stuff that they don't want to see, that nobody else wanted to see. So it's not, just be aware that people will scroll through your page. But if they keep scrolling and they don't get the content that they like, they're going to move on.
Right. And on that note, don't get emotional about it. Right. I think people are like, oh man, it didn't hit, and then they want to give up, but don't get emotional about it. Just focus on being consistent. Say, set a goal for 2023 where I'm going to do, 5 reels a week, no matter what. And then the ones that hit, keep, and the ones that don't, delete. And don't get emotional about it. Just like running numbers on a deal, right? Like if you're an investor, it's all about the numbers. It doesn't matter if you love the property, hate the property. It's really all about the numbers. And then on that note, I just saw another question from Tina. How you doing, Tina? Where do you see more quality engagement or leads for real estate, IG or TikTok?
So I'm gonna clear something up that came in my head a few minutes ago.
Awesome.
Boomerang's back around. Is this all started with Snapchat? This all started
Right.
before stories. This all started with Snapchat, and so the funny pictures and faces. And I remember I used to watch this girl every morning that would do this wide mouth, and then there was this one, I think, law enforcement girl. And she at lunch would come out and eat her lunch in her patrol car, whatever. And she always had the funniest Snapchat videos. And so that's where it all started. People got out of their comfort zone on Snapchat with these filters and having fun with it. And, I would go and video, live through houses and do tours before Matterport and, to engage and explain all the, the stuff in the house. And at the end, we added bloopers. And so if you're doing stuff like that, keep your bloopers in there. Like I would go to the grocery store and I would run into someone, they're like, when are you gonna put your next video, your next house up there that you're talking about? Because we love the bloopers and they were fun and they're very accurate because I'm not really graceful. So you want to capture those. Don't delete that stuff out of there. Don't use all these filters so that when you show up that you just catfish someone. Be you and be authentic when you're doing that. But I want to say, if you were on Snapchat, you've been doing this for a long time. So go to your stories, make sure that even the content that you post on your news feed makes it to your story also. And my Facebook is set up that anything I post in my story on Facebook or my newsfeed automatically goes to Instagram. So with that said, you have to make sure you're using hashtags on Facebook, because you can't go back to Instagram, because that's where people are going to find you more. On Instagram and TikTok are going to be with your hashtags, not necessarily on Facebook. And so, and sometimes I'm like, oh man, I forgot to add my hashtags, because the hashtags, once it hits Instagram, it's just going to start with anybody that wanted to see anything with those hashtags. And then that's how you're going to get your likes, and that's how you're going to continue to get your followers. And I'll tell you to be consistent, because, there's been times in my journey that I had not realized that Facebook wasn't moving that stuff over to Instagram. And I was over 100,000 followers on Instagram. And I think right now I'm at like 81,000. And so I lost people, but I probably also lost all of the followers that were fake also, that were, spamming on there as well. So maybe not such a bad thing, because you want to have real people and you want to have real activity showing on your content. But going back to IG and TikTok, I think they're completely different. I think that I find a lot of younger folks, I shouldn't say that, more like, my 13-year-old is more on TikTok than she is on Instagram. They're different audience. There's different preferences between all of them. I know people that are only on Facebook. I know people that are only on Instagram, and I know people that are only on TikTok. And so to maximize that, I would do it across the board. And I believe there are apps out there that could help you, dice it all together and then it spits it out. I haven't done that in a long time, but I know there used to be something that would promote it everywhere. And don't forget about LinkedIn. There's a lot of professionals. You can get a lot of luxury clients out of LinkedIn, and it's huge. And use your hashtags on LinkedIn as well. I think we forget about LinkedIn a lot. What is this? So the hashtags on Facebook are supposed to show your content on Instagram. So if you go to your settings and you post that your content from Facebook will go automatically and filter to Instagram, all your content will go with it. So the hashtags on Facebook will show through Instagram. Hopefully I answered that. My preferred time to post, I'm going to pull this up so I can answer this first question to get it off, because I've been patiently waiting.
Sure.
Okay, make sure you can hear this. So this one is, I think, a testimonial. Third party is always better than you saying it. And I'm going to add something to that TikTok and reels and stories. It's not about you. It's about the consumer and it's about their journey. It's not about you. So I do see a lot of agents that will post TikToks like, it's all about them and their daily life and their schedule versus educating the consumer, or what the consumer, people want to know, what am I going to get out of this, unfortunately. And so it's not about cutting your commission and marketing that, oh, I have the least commission because I need the business. It's, you have to show why you're worth it. What is your value? And that's the stuff that you want to be telling them. You don't want to and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Like if you go through and watch TikToks and reels, it's yeah, you want to tell them that you're a certified negotiator. If you're a certified negotiator, if you are a certified luxury market specialist, you want to tell them that stuff. But you don't want to go be so ego, because that's not going to get you anywhere. It's really pure passion. And so just watch, just watch the content. Let me play this.
I am so excited to have a minute to talk to you about your experience with Tracy Cousineau Real Estate, because from what I heard, things went pretty well. Tell me more.
It was a good experience all the way around. I mean, the idea of selling a house in the midst of building a new one, of course, was stressful, but she just said, well, put your house on the market. And I said, what if our new house isn't ready? She said, I'll take care of you. And she did. David and I did nothing but get out of the way, had 22 offers. She got the best contract for us that allowed us to stay in the house until our new home was ready. It took the stress away. I mean, I just can't say enough how easy they made a very difficult process.
Oh, that is awesome. And you got a little bit more than you thought you could ever get for the house.
Oh, yeah, we were thrilled.
Mind if I ask how much more?
50,000. That was wonderful. I highly, highly recommend them.
Go to TracyCousineau.com today. That's spelled cousin with an E-A-U.
Because you know we're going to sell your home.
I like that ending.
Yeah, so that's the jingle. It's cousin with an EAU, because you know we're going to sell your home. And my 13-year-old, when she was like 4, came up with that jingle. So I had gone on Fiverr, all these other things, like always wanting to come up with a jingle, and never heard anything that I want and hear. It just took the 4-year-old in the back seat at the time to hear me on the phone talking to a telemarketer, spelling out my last name, and then she added on, because my mom is going to sell your house, which she does have a Southern twang. And it stuck, and it's a household thing, and it's what we advertise with. So, but hearing that, I'm sure you heard how much content could be pulled from that. So you could do a video with that. You could bring an iPad or your phone. I mean, these iPhones are amazing with their video pixelation. And so you could do a video at closing or at the walkthrough or somewhere, and just get that third-party testimonial, because they're going to tell the story. And I don't ever want them to know I don't want them to be prepared. I want them to be authentic with what they say. And so you just ask them the question, or tell us about your journey and how'd it go, and they're just going to talk, and you don't have to, and you just listen, and they're going to tell their experience. And then you can take it and you can play the video, you can make it a small story, you can make it a TikTok, you can make it a reel, you can put it on a post, then you can do content from it, and you can talk about the journey, and then a picture of the house. And $50,000, you heard that. What could $50,000 back in someone's pocket do for them? And then it's talking about that, you're talking to the consumer who is watching you. And hey, Lori, what could you do with an extra $50,000? You can pay college tuition, you can pay off credit cards, or you can have a down payment on your new house, or you can buy upgrades. There's so many things that you can put back into the economy for $50,000. And it's going through that process and telling those stories. And the more closings and the more stories that you have, the content's going to come easy. It's going to come just flowing out, and you're going to have enough content. People have downtime while they're in the, you always want to understand who your avatar is. And so if you've never done that, that's a great exercise to know who your avatar actually is. And so let's just, for instance, say that your avatar, the decision maker, is the stay-at-home mom or dad. And so they're going to be in the car between 7 and 8, driving kids to school. Lunchtime, they're going to go home, they're going to do whatever. Lunchtime, they're probably going to sit down, have a sandwich, whatever, go hang out with some friends. And we're all sitting like this on our phones, even with our friends and family, unfortunately. So you want to post at lunchtime. Then you want to post around 3 or 4 for the carpool ride afterwards. And then you've got around 8 o'clock at night, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, when it's starting to get quiet in the house, everybody's winding down. Those are 4 prime times. Think about when people are in their cars and or when they're just sitting around the house, or when they're in doctor appointments. And basically those are the times I think about when I first wake up in the morning. So is everyone else, and everybody grabs their phone. My kids will check their social media before they say good morning to me. So it's just, we're branded with that. So you just stay with it, and keep up with the trending topics. But again,
And on that note as well, a time not to post is like Friday afternoons, right? Like Friday afternoon is like almost guaranteed to get 0 engagement, because the weekend's starting, people are going out, people are going on vacation for the weekend. That Friday afternoon is like almost guaranteed to get not a lot of engagement. So that's another tip, is knowing when not to post.
Or unless you're recruiting, like if you're building a team and you're recruiting and you want to host a happy hour on Friday at 4:00, then you want to show who's all there and do a video like, hey, come join us, blah, 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 just to network and meet people. So that would be a little different, because the consumer is different. Your avatar for that would be different, but your avatar for buyers and sellers, absolutely. Thursday nights are the best when it comes to buyers. They're looking for, what are we gonna do this weekend? What open houses are out there? Start talking about your open houses on Thursdays so that they're prepared to be there. Offer something, have, carton of eggs, do something fun. We were talking about this in the meeting, like do something fun that's gonna like get attention, or do a drawing for a gas card. And you can put a disclaimer on there, if less than, 10 or 20 buyers come to the open house, the drawing will be moved to the next weekend, or something, so that every weekend you're not giving out $100 gift card for gas and only 1 or 2 people show up, which then would make you think that, okay, I'm not branding well for this open house. Now, what do I need to do to bring up the engagement for the open house market? So there's that. Expired listings are all over the place again. So it's, educating the consumer on expired listings. And, we don't want their home to hit the market and expire. So we want to educate them and give them options. Time of the seller saying this is what I want for my house, especially in Metro Atlanta, is not there. It's there's less inventory and the prices are going down. So they have to go back and be educated that we're back to closing cost. We're back to inspections and not buying as is a lot of homes. It's back to larger earnest money, because buyers are backing out the day of closing. So now having the buyer show up with good faith in a larger amount of earnest money, so that if they do walk away, it's more painful than deciding the morning of closing. So even talking about that stuff and educating, so that when somebody does go to buy or sell, they know that you know what you're talking about. Let me go back to my notes that I wrote down.
So one more question too is like, what is working well for you in your business right now? Like, where are you finding that you're getting the most of your business in today's market?
I think it's just all of the advertisement over the years of already starting this influencer building and marketing that we've done for quite some time, and branding it as a household name. And it's just in that jingle, it stuck. And I'll go into those neighborhood forums, like find like, I don't know, 10 neighborhoods that are big in your community that you do a lot of, that people would know who you are because you've sold in there before. And you can go into that neighborhood app and answer questions that people have, regardless if it's about real estate. Somebody might need a handyman. Well, give them the handyman, or they might need a plumber. So, give the content for a plumber, or, the county marketplace, and people ask for stuff, or, forums or whatever. Show up in those forums and answer the questions and get to know these people and engage with these people. And that will grow your audience as well, that you have a lot of contacts, and people like to network with people that have a lot of contacts.
Yeah, that's a great tip, and that can actually be a gold mine, because Like Facebook has tons of neighborhood groups. And if they don't have one for a neighborhood that you work or you're interested in, start your own, right? And next door, same
buy
thing.
one that, you know, hasn't had a lot of activity in a long time. You know, you could reach out to the admin and say, hey, for $100, I know you already, you know, you've got these followers. Can I take over this? I'll say, I'll Venmo you $100. Can I take over this page if it's got a lot of following? It doesn't matter how they got the following. It could have been over something that they posted 7 years ago. It doesn't matter. A lot of those people, if it's got a good following, are still going to live in that area. You just change the name of the page and you start putting and promoting your content.
Yeah, absolutely. I got another question here from Tina. They said the future of video is short form. What's your thought on long form in YouTube? Do we continue to do that or keep up with short forms instead?
I think that it's the content that is going to get someone to, and so I've been really focused on the insights throughout my social media platforms and seeing how long, like if I did a 15-second reel or if I did a 30-second or a 60-second, what the content is. How long did they watch the video for and what was that content about? And that's kind of how I'm tweaking it to figure it out, is just by, is my content good enough that they're watching the full entire video? And you'll know that by trying different segments of it, but it depends on what your videos are about. If you're doing something that is entertaining, I mean, you have to think a song, if you're going to listen to a song on YouTube, those are 3 to 4 minutes, right? So I listen to a full song on YouTube to watch the video if that's what I went there for, right? So you know that you can, if it's good content you've created, they're going to stick around for a song for 3 to 4 minutes. Then they're going to stick around if you have good content. And I think it all goes down to what are you talking about? Are they, you know, are they getting what they want from that? Because that's, at the end of the day, people, they want something. And so
Right.
hit them with
and
your
to
pain point.
Go ahead. Yeah. And to add to that, like long form is still great and you can still, like, you know, pull snippets out for your short form. Like there's certain things you just can't explain in short form, right? Like if you wanted to explain a contract or different things, you know, different scenarios, case studies, those might take a little longer. Or let's say you did, you know, 7 tips to buy a house in a high interest rate environment, right? That would definitely be a longer video, but then you could also take each one of those 7 tips and chop it into a short form video. And now you've got both out of the same long form video that you made.
I'm trying to find this one agent. I think was from Alabama. She played softball at Alabama and lives in Nashville now. And a lot of her content isn't about real estate, but her following is amazing because she stepped out of her comfort zone. And she'll tell you in some of these videos, this is so not my comfort zone. Let me find her so that you can follow her. It's, and some of you may already, but it's Dana, D-A-N-A, and her last name is E-H-A-Y-S. And she is hilarious. And I sit there and watch her content one over another. Like she'll prank call people all day long. It's so funny. Sometimes she'll put wigs on, and she was an introvert, and now she's doing these amazing TikToks and let me see what her followers are. 2.4 million.
Oh, that's huge for real estate.
Yeah. And she now she got in, like, Luke Combs. She's friends with Luke Combs now when he came to Nashville because he'd seen her on TikTok and that kind of stuff. So check her out. I mean, she's hilarious. And I promise you that it's on TikTok. It's D-A-N-A-E-H, my eyes are bad, A-Y-S. Danae Hayes. But she's hilarious. You're not going to just watch one. And so if your content is like that, people are going to stick around. she might be on she might be on Instagram. I just don't, I've never really looked on Instagram, but she might be on Instagram. She's definitely worth, checking out and following her for her fun stuff. But I've watched a lot of people that I'm following on TikTok from, 2-3 years ago when I first went on there, and I didn't really plug and play a lot on there at that time, but they didn't have any followers, and now they have millions of followers. And it's really about your content, and it doesn't really have to be about the industry.
Yeah.
Because people want to know you, they want to see the real you, and go outside your comfort zone, and don't think so small that it just has to be about real estate.
Right. And let me add just a little something to that too, is a lot of people, they look at these influencers and, they have millions of followers. But the reality is most people in real estate, you don't need millions of followers. You could have 1,000 followers that know, like, and trust you in your area, and you could work that to grow a very big business. So don't think you need to go out there and build this huge following. Like, obviously, if you can do that, great, but really it's about adding the value, building the trust, and showing, not telling, what you can do. That really is the name of the game.
Well, and it's using those hashtags too. So if you're in
Right.
a specific city, make sure that you're putting your state on there, you're putting the city on there, you're putting the county on there, so that it does bring it all. You're making sure that you're always hashtagging your name, because the more that you keep putting out there, the more that it's going to be on there. And I had I'm on a Christian radio station for our team, and this college girl, she posted on TikTok, and it went viral. And it was funny because she posted, I just came to get my Jesus on, and Tracy Cousineau is trying to sell my house, but can she send my rental? I'm living in a rental. I'm a college student, but she tagged me in it. And these college students, they're not ready to buy houses, but I'll always be on that TikTok of hers. So as she grows, she put a shout out there for me for free. So, even though her post might have been a little negative, it actually ended up being positive because I engaged back with her, and it was a fun back and forth. And so it brought out the comedy in me and her, and it was good between the two of us, from her just hearing an ad on the TV. So, hopefully, last question, what's an effective way to convert non-follower reach to follow and subscribe? Replying back to their stuff. You can always add people, you can tag people. So if it's something that they commented on that you posted before, and it's kind of the same content, and it's something you're like, oh, maybe, they showed interest in this, let me add them into this, and you can, put the @ and then whatever their name is to it, and so that they'll do it. I remember my daughter, when she was younger, she thought she had a YouTube public page, and she would open these little toys, and I'll never forget it. Subscribe and like and leave a comment, after every single thing she did. And so that just got in the brain. But your cover photo, like on YouTube or on some of your pages, you can actually just put that on there and just have it across the board. Like, follow me for more content on this, and this, and subscribe or whatever. Like,
yeah, always add a call to action. If you can put it in print at the end of your videos, just a quick like and subscribe for more, different stuff like that. It will definitely just increase conversions the more you ask.
Yeah, and you don't want to pay for I don't know if you get this, but I get this a lot. Like, if I post something, like, immediately in the comments, I'll get these bots that are sending stuff like, oh, send me this video and I'll promote it, blah blah blah. Those are fake followers, and fake followers aren't going to bring you business.
Yep.
So it's all the other things that you're doing, have an event, or if you and your family go to a restaurant, you go eat the Mexican restaurant down the street, you tag it in there, talk about your journey there, like, we come here every Taco Tuesday, and they have this or this or this. Interview the owner of the Mexican restaurant or whoever your server is, and you know, not only are you helping them, they're going to remember you. And then you're going to now engage in networking and connecting with them. Then you went from just going there and being a patron of their establishment to now you actually are supporting their small business, and it changes the dynamics.
Love that. If anyone else has any more questions, why don't you drop them in the chat now as we wrap up, and then any final thoughts that Tracy would like to share?
Another thing that we do, which we need to go back and do in the next couple weeks, I want to get new ones out there, but when you are, movement is good. And I started movement on stuff years ago. So if I had a listing, I had a cartoon, this is before avatars and all this stuff that you bit, whatever, emojis and all that stuff. I had a cartoon character made of me with like a sold sign, and it actually moved. So if I put a picture of the house, then I could, you know, write stuff on it, whatever, but I had movement going across it. So it was the movement that actually brought better engagement, because if I just posted something without movement, it didn't get as much engagement. So that's where I'm going to that video, but just leave your captions where they can see what the wording is if they can't watch it because they're at work, and sound. So movement on stuff, and that's why video is huge. So don't be scared of the videos. Kara, I don't know if one of my partners on my team I love watching her stuff. And you know, when I first met Kara was very, very shy, and to see, like, I smile every time I see her stuff with her doing video and speaking, because I know that it had to been really tough for her to break out of that, you know, that comfort zone of doing that. And I love watching them. Her personality is great. I would buy a house from her. I would want to be her friend. I mean, because she is very authentic. She has empathy. She really wants to help. This is her passion, and she's funny. And so just, you know, go to Kara and look at her stuff. You know, she shares a lot of stuff lately, and I love seeing her do that. And so again, it's just consistency, and it's showing up. And you know, she's amazing. She has shown up, and so she'll reap the benefits of it.
Awesome. Very cool.
Oh, but okay,
well,
so my ADHD, one more thing. So when you go on your stories, your stories, you can add these, I don't know, are they called GIFs? The little
GIFs, yeah, moving pictures.
Yeah. So I have some. So if you type in my name, hashtag, and type in my name, you'll find mine, and you can use mine as well. But that's something that you know, my coaching program does, and we do on the team. So we make those so that you're adding movement to your stories or your reels. So I'll put them, like, I've got one that I'm holding a thing of popcorn, and I'm like this with popcorn. And I've got one that I'm on my phone, or, you know, one with the sold and under contract, or opening champagne. And there's just so many ideas. There's so many things that you can come up with. And so those are amazing. But people will also use them on their stories if they're that good. So you can really grow your influencing through those as well with personality. Tracy Cousineau, and that's cousin with an EAU. So if you want to know about that, let me know. Oliver, I need to come in town and do those for your company.
Yeah, anytime. We'd love to see you again. You know, congrats on all your success. Thank you for sharing a lot of great tips today. We got a lot of high fives and a lot of I love it. Tina says, haha, love it. Thank you. Amazing session. What's your username again, so everyone can follow her? It's Tracy Cousin with an EAU. I love that.
But you know what? And I'll follow you back too. And so, you know, that's always great to everybody share and follow each other, because that just keeps growing your audience and stay connected. It's all about working together, and whatever I can offer and help you with, you know, I'm always here. I've got some books on Amazon. You can check those out. And, you know, just whether you think your ideas are small or your content is small, you won't know until you try, until you put it out there. And, you know, I always walk around with like, I don't think that's a big deal. I think everybody knows it, and I don't think it's a big deal until someone says, man, that's really cool. Like, you should talk about that. You should talk more about that. And I'm like, really? You think that's interesting? So what you think somebody might not want to know or is not interesting, it actually is probably interesting.
Very true. Another quick and easy tip, like anytime I do a Zoom call, like you can see on the page down there, I just put my handle at Oliver Graf 360. And that way, you know, the more exposure you can get to it, the more followers you'll get, the easier it'll get, and the more you'll grow. So thanks again, everyone. Really appreciate you, Tracy. Would love to see you again when you come into town or if I'm out that way. And thanks again. We'll talk to everyone next week at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And thanks again, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, everyone.